Come up, piano, and it's 5 p.m. You know what that means. It's Training SA time right here on S3, where we open up. We've got great entertainment lined up for you today. And helping me, my name is Loot Love, of course. Fire up tonight's episode is our versatile, talented, and just downright amazing Queen Lesego.
Thank you kindly for not just saying TV, comedy, or restricting me. I'm here to serve.
Shout out to the team. And we have the only recognized emperor of a place far, called him Lazi.
Why didn't you just say, and this one's Mbele? Because look at what she got.
Okay, let me try this.
Please.
And this one is Blessing.
Okay, my passport is here, Lutando. It's fine. Our first guest tonight has a reputation as a critical thinker who defies societal labels imposed upon us to cultivate his identity. As an acclaimed content architect, entrepreneur, and former editor for numerous publications, I'm talking about many, this guy's been in the game. He has been instrumental in helping brands curate their brand identity and purpose. Outside of his entrepreneurial spirit, Kodjoe has demonstrated a keenness for spoken word and has published a collection of poetry. Listen to your footsteps. Welcome to TrendingSA, Kodjoe.
Thank you very much.
So good to have you.
So your book, which comes out in May, Listen to Your Footsteps, is a collection of personal essays and honest reflections, as you've said. But why did you choose this format and not the traditional novel/autobiography form?
Well, autobiography, I still feel like I'm young. I still feel like I've got a lot of stuff to do. And look, it's actually easier. Some say it's harder, but for me it was easier to bring such a diverse kind of collection of thoughts together in that essay form. So, you know, some are longer, some are shorter, some is like a page or two. I have a couple of poems interspersed in between them, but it was just easier.
So you did say you're a bit too young, because when we thought about the autobiography, I think a lot of us here were like, what? He's still got so much to live and so much life to live. So why did you decide to reflect on your life now at this stage of the game, and will you do it again later?
Well, I think it's more, I mean, my work and the kind of the trajectory that I've followed over the years is very much about, I've drawn a lot from the lessons I've learned along the way. So, you know, working in the media, you're having to tap into that a lot. So it kind of made sense to rather reflect on it, because I do that naturally.
Yeah.
So rather reflect on those, and because I use those to figure out today. I mean, so, you know, I have kids. I use when I was a child to try and parent better. And it's something that I naturally do. So that's why it made sense to do that. In terms of moving forward, I don't really know. Like now I'm thinking, I want to try maybe short stories or a novel, but each one, you know, every form of writing there's a craft to it and there's a muscle to it. And it's having to learn how to navigate those spaces.
If you need novel advice, I'm here for you, but listen.
Cool.
Oh, hey, girl.
I need all the advice I can get.
So, Kodjoe, a book like yours, rather, requires a lot of courage and some sort of level of vulnerability. So what level of personal introspection did you have to do in the process of putting this book together, and what did you learn about yourself in that process?
I think it's a weird thing in that, I guess because I'd explored poetry, and because a lot of my writing involves me, right? It's my life, it's the things that I think. That part of it wasn't as hard. I mean, I think Saul Williams was the one who said, to paraphrase him, you know, a rapper hides their vulnerability. As a poet, you bring your vulnerability to the fore.
Got it.
But one of the things I've also realized over the years is that what I share, like I'll share something that I think is cool, and somebody else will interpret that as extremely vulnerable and I'm bearing my soul, which has made for difficult relationships over the years.
I can imagine.
But at the same time, I did have to, you know, had to kind of be honest with myself and stuff.
Right.
I think I was fortunate in that, like, the process of it was not hard for me, but mainly because I've spent the last 5-6 years kind of working on me, very simply. So I suspect, you know, when people read it, they'll kind of go, "Ooh, that's intense."
Got it.
But there's still stuff that I won't lie, I've kept to myself, because for me, that's the stuff I'm not ready to engage with.
Okay.
What do you hope when Mbele reads your book? What do you hope tugs at me the most?
I think what will tug at you the most is what you connect to the most. And that's how we should engage with anything in this world. But I was raised by my father. My mother died when I was 1. So I talk about that. I talk about my navigating this world, how it affected my relationships. I talk about, my father was also not raised by his mother. So my father was my only parent till I was 40. He passed away a couple of years back, but I was 44, 45, right? And he was the most dominant force and the most dominant presence in my life. And so I speak about kind of what I learned from him. I speak about just navigating that relationship because we're also very much alike. And then I speak about, for example, my son who has his mother and not perpetuating that cycle, because sometimes as my son grows older, I'd find myself reacting in a particular way or thinking in a particular way, and then realizing that actually I was raised by a man who didn't grow up with his mother, and I'm a man who didn't grow up with his mother, but my son has his mother. And so how I navigate that and how I make sense of that. So those are the kind of things that I reflect on. I have a son and I have a daughter. So I reflect on, raising a daughter in this world, but also raising a son in this world. Because yes, we want to protect our daughters, but we also want to ensure that we have a world where you don't have to worry about your daughter. So my daughter shouldn't have to leave herself at home when she goes to work or diminish herself. But my son should also understand that it doesn't matter whether it's a sister or anybody else within the space. As a woman should not have to pull themselves back within the workspace.
Actually, my question has a lot to do with that, because you touched on a chapter on manhood, and you speak about, the experiences of becoming a man and when boys become men. What was your personal journey to manhood? You've obviously spoken about your dad and not growing up with a mom, and how do you reflect on that in the book to make toxic masculinity a subject that we probably have to touch on?
I mean, it's at stages of my life, I have been problematic. I think all of us have. Like, no man can say that they haven't done something, however small or big it may be. I reflect on it a lot. I mean, as I've grown older, I've also started to understand myself and have let's say, a more mature and a more open outlook to the world. But it actually comes up when I look at my children, especially my son. And some of the things that I went through, and because my son is also a mirror of me. And so some of the things that he's going through that perhaps like being able to go to therapy. I grew up in Masir in the late 70s and 80s. There was no therapy.
I mean, even now, boys seem to struggle with the concept.
So it's being able to go, actually, do you know what? At least understanding that there's support for him.
So imagine us sitting on the table, are all writing our memoirs. And we are going to give you a quick synopsis one by one, and you have to give of our lives, and you, as the accomplished author to be, you get to give us the working title.
Okay. I don't even know how to put it together, but I'll start with twin mom, brilliant broadcaster, style maven, and spiritual warrior.
Working title.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's the pressure on everybody.
Yeah, like I write things down. I have time to write. Living life to the fullest.
Living life to
Cool, got it. I'm good.
I am...
It's very cheesy.
Living life to the fullest. Loot. Yeah, it can work. I am an emperor. I rule. I have 2 dogs. I came to Johannesburg for domination. And not domination here. I've got dreams, actual dreams.
Clearly you want to move to Mars as well?
I want to dominate on Mars as well. What's my book?
Yo.
Taking the first step.
Okay, let me try to do mine quickly. I don't know how, but a girl grows up in Johannesburg.
Sandton. The north.
In the north. Oh my gosh, do you want to write this book with me?
Yeah.
Is politically wokened in school, in a very white school, and becomes the antithesis of what that school wanted her to be.
In my skin.
That's it.
That is nice.
Lovely.
That is fire.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm actually, wow, guys, I'm going to start writing in my skin tonight. Thank you for joining us. And everybody, don't forget to buy Listen to Your Footsteps, Reflections and Essays by the remarkable Kodjoe Baffoe. Thank you for coming to the show. And we will see you guys after the break when we talk to Mr. South Africa finalist, Troy Malange. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are still opening up with #ZA3. Now, as a Mr. South Africa finalist, our guest tonight's journey into fully encompassing what it means to live your dream and redefining oneself in the public eye took an interesting turn recently when he made waves on social media. He recently spoke about his coming out experiences and the reactions he received from his family, which warmed many hearts of South Africans. So welcome to TrendingSA, the charismatic Troy Malange. Woo!
Troy.
Hey, Marcelo. Hey, everybody.
I love it.
Firstly, congratulations for making the cut for Mr. SA 2021. How does it feel to be where you are right now? Did you expect that you'd come this far?
Honestly, no. It's a humbling experience. It's amazing. And I didn't even know that I would be, here with you guys today. So also this is just like
the humility. The humility.
So whilst we're still celebrating your entry into, being a Mr. South Africa finalist, you posted the following voice note from your mother. Please can we listen to it?
Sweetheart, I called just to tell you that I love you. I called just to tell you that I will always be at your side. I love you, no matter what. I love you, son.
I love that so much. As a fan of moms, just in general, can you please talk us through what led to her recording that voice note for you?
Yeah, so what happened was obviously made the cut, and then I told my mom, Mommy, this is what's going on. I made the cut for Mr. SA. And then my mom started campaigning. Oh my God, my mom started campaigning for me like crazy. So she sends messages to church groups and stuff.
Oh, good too.
And before I know it, then I get a message from my sister. I'm at work in the morning, and she's like, by the way, I just got a message from your mom, and she's telling me that she found out that you're gay. And I'm like, you know what, like, I'm not going to have this conversation. Is this why I have a voice note from her, actually? And she was like, yeah, I think that's why. Then I'm like, I sent her a message back and say, Mommy, I'm still at work. Can I talk to you after? And then later on, when I got home, I listened to the voice note, and that's what she said. And I sent it to my sister. Because my sister's a fighter. She was ready to just get worse. So my sister's like, yo, I'm so sorry. That's what I said to her, because I really dragged the life out of her, but all she was saying is that she's very accepting of me, and she kind of wished she heard it from me and not from, because she heard it from when she was campaigning, she heard it from a cousin of mine, and the way it was said wasn't in good light, The person said, does Mr. South Africa allow for gay contestants? Because this boy is gay, and my mom was like, well, what is this, So she just wished she was more prepared for that conversation.
Cut that cousin
jealous
off.
Cousin.
Cut that cousin off.
Not jealous cousin.
Haters gonna hate, and that's why they stay behind. So after the voice note, you received quite a lot of positive feedback, and response from social media. And I'm quite curious to know, how has this, how has your coming out impacted your Mr. SA run, if it has at all? Yeah,
so what happened was, I don't know about, I know that the queer people accepted me like crazy. Yeah. So this is what happened. It's a crazy story. I went to a club in Cape Town, and I'm doing my multiple washes. So I'm washing my life away.
Oh, you better.
And I'm here, and I hear this voice behind me going, yes, Zosibini Tunzi. Yes, Miss Universe.
Take up space.
And so now they call me Zosibini 2.0 or Zosi Tatu. So it's been really amazing.
Let's just bring it back to the responses from social media. Your aunt wrote something on your coming out. And she said, Muzi, You don't have to be upset. I really think humanity is messed up. Why is it that you are expected to disclose your sexuality?
Sure.
Why do you have to be treated differently? All that matters, you are human like everyone else.
Your
right?
family.
So let's get into what your aunt said there. Why is it that you are expected to disclose your sexuality? I saw a lot of people on social media respond to that particular line. I'm going to ask, why was it important for you to actually come out?
For me, it was about visibility and representation, you know, because I grew up in the church and I grew up being told that being gay is a sin, you know, all of those things that you hear. So for me, this was a love note to sort of a 14-year-old me to say, representation. There is someone like you out there who's going through what you're going through. And to someone, it might seem not that important, but it could literally mean the difference between life and death, because I've been there where I thought I could pray it away, I could fast it away, and all of those things. But I wish there was a voice that I now have that would speak to that 14-year-old to say, you are fine just the way you are. There is no need to pray this thing away. There is no need to do anything. There's even no need for you to be sitting around these people who are trying to cast the demon out of you. There is no demon in you. You are fine just the way you are. And I think I did it for that voice, for that boy, for aspiration, visibility, and representation.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much. And this is why...
Sorry,
What?
I just want to ask one last thing before he goes. So please tell me, I know that, you know, Miss Universe and everything else, we know everybody waves when they've won. So what do you guys do at Mr. South Africa, and have you practiced?
Yeah, we probably do wave as well and speak about world peace.
Okay.
You know?
That's the speech that you just made now.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
that
the winning
speech was
speech.
it.
If you can cut and paste this from trending on stage.
That's it. We're done. We have our Mr. South Africa.
I'm voting for you, please.
Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you so much. And I see you going straight to the top. When we come back, we have designer Siyanda Mbele of Pinda Design. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's Sound 3. Nothing should get in the way of your growing business. Vodacom is reinventing the SME business solutions in an effort to assist you navigate the business landscape with their tailored business solution. Vodacom wants to give your business the edge, growth and productivity it needs to remain competitive in the world of business. This next interview segment is brought to you by Vodacom Business, keeping SMEs connected.
With technology and humanity, we can go further together. Vodacom.
So tonight we have an incredible young man who is making moves and shaking up the world of interior design. And of course, he comes from my mom's hometown, Mlazi. His name is Siyanda. Oh, and Mbeles. Okay. His name is Siyanda. His name is Siyanda Mbele, a talented designer and founder of Pinda Design, a bespoke furniture company that is known for fusing functionality, aesthetics, and culture to create practical and yet futuristic furniture pieces. As a designer, he recognizes the need for African culture to be represented by African designers in the furniture space. So welcome to TrendingSA, Siyanda. Woo!
Thank you. Listen, you own a bespoke furniture business in Pinda Design, right? I want to know what goes into making this brand what it is today, because things are popping that side.
Yeah.
And you're even in Joburg now.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just the process that we use and to basically create the products. So it's a very unique process of making sure that we research about the culture that we're looking into so that we appreciate that culture and we find different nuances that they have, different practices that they have, and then we bring that into the design. Yeah.
Okay, so your designs are obviously a fusion of futuristic and yet contemporary and African. So did you have, finding a niche market, did you find it hard for you? Or did you find that there were people already in the space who were craving this kind of furniture?
For me, it was a bit of research that I had to do. I saw it Design in Daba, and I saw there's a niche there, and there are people who follow it and who are interested in these designs. So then the target was, I need to go there. So I asked at home to gather some money up. I couldn't even speak up at home and asked for the trip to Cape Town. And my cousin Ukanyo spoke up and just had a family meeting.
Shout out Kanyo.
And then had a family meeting.
Shout out to the cousins that do right, not the other ones that expose otherwise.
No. And then she spoke to the family, and then the family came together and everyone pitched in for me to go down and just have the first look of how the exhibition is like and see if I could fit in there. And then everything was literally perfect. I knew the minute I walked in, next year I need to come back.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So the Mvelo desk.
Okay.
Right. That was the thing.
Yeah.
It got recognized as one of the most beautiful objects in South Africa in 2018, right? Yeah. And are you in awe?
I'm literally like, also, is it a snake? Is it like, it's so like,
so dope.
It's so dope.
So what is the process when it comes to marrying culture and design? Like, what's your personal process?
My personal process is just researching as much as I can, and also I have the luxury of speaking to elderly people about the culture, so I get the authentic as much as I can to make it as authentic as possible, and also use the internet to gather the research that I need to find. And for Mvelo Desk particularly, when it started, it was Ndebele inspired. And then I realized that I'm actually just forcing things.
You're doing too much.
I'm doing too much, you know, because also the Ndebele wave was big at the time. And I knew I would get traction, but I knew that I wasn't doing the design itself justice. So then I saw some Zulu symbolism that I've always seen as a kid. And now the next thing, I was like, what do these symbols mean? And then I did some research, found out some meanings of the symbols. And then how to put those symbols together. To basically create a story, because the story about the Mvelo Desk is how people are married to their careers, and because the symbols themselves, the symbol of the diamond represents a woman, the triangle represents a man, and then when those symbols are joined together, it represents a union. So that union that we have with our work, and then when we work and we are so married to our careers. So without knowing, the minute you sit down,
you love in the house.
All right.
Some education.
Can I afford you? Oh my God, I hope I can afford you.
Yeah, can we afford you on this?
I've decided I can't afford her. I've decided.
That's what
I've decided.
It's just a decision.
Oh,
he's expensive. He's very expensive.
So your work, celebrates, African culture and the aesthetic. So how do we expand on this, and how do we learn so that we can incorporate it in what we do as well every single day, without you having to kind of break down each piece and explain it to us in layman terms, where we see it, we recognize, we understand, and then we move?
I think the process of getting rid of the colonial lens so that you can really see the beauty of African cultures.
Lisek was about to cry.
Okay.
I literally, oh my gosh. I'm so obsessed with it. It's insane. No.
So I think it's just that first step where you just realize, for me, even just seeing beadwork, it's just like, this is so intricate. This is literally, if you were to take beadwork and put it in Paris, it becomes haute couture. But if you look at it here in South Africa, it's not at that luxury level that it should be at. So I think the first step is just to actually appreciate what we have.
Listen, all I'm saying is I got space, I got coins. I'm ready for your designer. But you're amazing. Yeah, you're phenomenal. You're amazing.
But I dream about it. I can't.
I mean, she might propose to you at this point. We don't know.
I just come do my whole house. Like, I'm obsessed with you.
Let's go. Let's go.
You're amazing. Thank you for being here.
Vodacom Business is dedicated to growing businesses and is prepared to help wherever possible to ensure that they do. So whether you require fast, reliable internet for your business, marketing or business funding, Vodacom Business is helping SMEs grow their business with their smart business solutions, keeping businesses connected further.
And that's how we wrap up tonight's installment of TrendingSA right here on S3. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's keep it opening it up. Bye.